You know, when you think of Benjamin Franklin, you probably think of the guy on the $100 bill. A printer, a scientist, a founding father. But that's not even half the story. What if I told you he was also a teenage runaway, a secret writer using a fake name, and a man full of really deep contradictions? Today, we're going to get into the life of Benjamin Franklin, the man who is so much more than just a face on our money.
Okay, here's the little riddle for you. What could possibly connect a public library, a fire department, bifocal glasses, and, oh yeah, the entire United States of America? I mean, what's the thread there? Well, the answer isn't a what, it's a who. And that who is exactly what we're talking about. Yep, it all comes back to one person, Benjamin Franklin. This is a guy whose brain just never seemed to switch off. His curiosity and his drive to make things better, more practical, led him to help create all of these things. He was, and this is not an exaggeration, a true force of nature. Now, to really get a handle on Franklin, you have to know this word, polymath. It just means somebody who was an expert in a whole bunch of different unrelated fields. And that was Franklin to a T. He was a writer, an inventor, a diplomat, a scientist, a political theorist. The list just goes on and on. He was the definition of a Renaissance man, and that's the key to understanding his incredible life. So where do you even start with a guy like this? Well, you don't start in some stuffy government building. No, to understand Ben Franklin, we have to go back to a noisy, messy, ink-stained print shop. That's where he first made his name, as a bit of a rebel. His rise was, well, it was meteoric. At just 12 years old, he stuck working for his older brother. But he was way too ambitious for that. So at 17, he breaks his contract and runs away. He becomes a fugitive, literally a wanted man. It was a huge risk, but boy did it pay off. Just 6 years later, at 23, he owns the most influential newspaper in Philadelphia. Just incredible drive. And you could see his clever, kind of mischievous streak from the very beginning. His brother wouldn't let him write for the paper. So did Ben give up? No way. As a teenager, he creates this whole fake identity, a witty, middle-aged widow named Silence Dogood. He'd write letters as her and slip them under the print shop door at night. And the best part? The whole town loved them. They were a total sensation. And he knew that the printing press was about more than just business. It was about shaping culture. His Poor Richard's Almanack sold like crazy, and he started the first ever newspaper chain, linking the colonies together. But what's really telling is that even after he was world famous, he never forgot where he came from. He'd proudly sign his letters, B. Franklin, Printer. So he's a massively successful media mogul, right? He could have stopped there, but Franklin was just getting started. He didn't just want to write about a better world, he wanted to get his hands dirty and actually build it. He became a true architect of his community. He basically looked around Philadelphia and saw a city full of problems he could fix. People need access to books? Okay, let's start the first subscription library. Cities catching on fire all the time? Fine, I'll organize the first volunteer fire department. People are sick? Let's build a hospital. Need a place for higher learning? We'll start a college. He was, piece by piece, building a modern city. But wait, there's more. Because in what feels like a completely different lifetime, Franklin was also a world-class scientist. I mean, this guy's curiosity about how the world worked was just off the charts. And here's the thing about Franklin the scientist. He was all about practical results. It wasn't just theory for him. His legendary kite experiment proved lightning was electricity, which led directly to his invention of the lightning rod, a device that saved countless lives and homes. He invented bifocals because he was tired of switching glasses. He charted the Gulf Stream to make ocean voyages faster. For him, science was a tool to improve everyday life.
Okay, so you take his communication skills, his talent for organizing people, and his scientific mind, and you put it all together. What do you get? You get the perfect person to help build a new nation. He was, in so many ways, the essential founding father.
Seriously, you just can't overstate his political influence. He was pushing for the colonies to unite way back in the 1750s, decades before anyone else. He was right there in the room editing Jefferson's draft of the Declaration. His diplomatic work in France was the key to winning the Revolutionary War, no joke. And even in his 80s, he was there, offering his wisdom at the Constitutional Convention. He was there for every critical moment. And because he was a printer, he understood the power of a simple, strong image. This cartoon, Join or Die, is a perfect example. Now, fun fact, he actually created it in 1754 to unite the colonies against the French. But the image was so powerful that it was brought back 20 years later as a symbol for the revolution against the British. It just goes to show you his genius for messaging.
All right, I want you to look at this number. 3. It might not seem like much, but it represents something truly incredible, something that sets Benjamin Franklin apart from every other single founding father.
He is the one and only person to have signed all 3 of the major documents that created the United States. Think about that. He signed the Declaration of Independence, which kicked the whole thing off. He signed the Treaty of Paris, which officially ended the war. And he signed the Constitution, which laid out the new government. He was there from the very beginning to the very end.
But, history isn't clean. It's messy, and no historical figure is a perfect hero. To really understand Franklin, we have to look at the more complicated and, frankly, uncomfortable parts of his life and legacy.
And the biggest contradiction in his life was his relationship with slavery. For much of his career, he owned enslaved people. His newspaper profited from ads selling human beings. There's no getting around that fact. But then, late in his life, something changed. He had a profound transformation, freed his slaves, and became a passionate abolitionist, even petitioning Congress to end slavery right before he died. It's a really complex part of his story.
The revolution also came at a huge personal cost. His son William, who he had been incredibly close to his whole life, chose to remain loyal to the British king. This political disagreement completely destroyed their relationship. They never reconciled. It's just a heartbreaking reminder that these massive historical events have very real, very painful human consequences.
So how do you sum up a life this huge? I think a French statesman named Turgot said it best with this quote. It means, he snatched lightning from the sky and the scepter from tyrants. And wow, isn't that the perfect summary? He mastered the natural world and he helped overthrow the political one. But maybe Franklin's most important legacy isn't any one thing he did, but what he represents. This powerful American idea that any one person, if they have enough curiosity and enough grit, can truly, genuinely change the world.